Hello, today we're going to be looking at this camera. It's a Caddx Kangaroo. But just before we get into that, a quick reminder, as always, please like or dislike this video if you didn't like it. Comment down below, don't forget to subscribe, and if you can find it, it's there somewhere, click on that little bell icon, it will tell you when I'm uploading videos. So, the Caddx Kangaroo, what is it? It's two things. I thought first off this is a nano camera, and by nano I mean a 14mm by 14mm, but it's actually a micro camera as well, which is the 19mm one. How does this work? I will show you. What you've got in here is, if we take the contents out, is this little camera, and this is indeed a 14mm by 14mm square. This is apparently, looking at the box, there's no actual markings around the side of the lens here, but if I read the box it tells me it's a 12M7G lens, which is a glass lens, which I guess is a better quality than the regular 2M 2.1mm lens, because it's about £3 difference. You will see this is sort of made up with sockets already. You've got the power ground video there, you've got the OSD, this has things changeable by OSD. Now what do I mean about this is a nano camera and a micro camera? Well, if we dig further in here, we've got the little joystick controller, that's the normal sort of thing. And then we've got this little bag of goodies, and in there is this. And this little mounting will go over the top of the original camera, and now it's a 19 by 19mm, which I think is quite a neat idea. It's really simple. This is literally just a little plastic shell, but no one's done it before, which I think is quite nifty. And then the rest in here, you've got like the cable to connect it to the OSD. You've got some tiny little screws there for mounting. No bracket or anything. There's a little Allen key. So yeah, first thing to do is let's have a look at what we can do on the OSD, because it's important to look at, because this camera actually has one. And then we need to see what can we mount this on that's going to be interesting, because we've got lots of things that use very small micro or nano cameras and can always be improved, I feel. So yeah, let's have a look in close up first and see what it can do, and then we'll find something to mount it on and take it for a fly. So in terms of what to put the Kangaroo in, obviously my thoughts turn towards a sort of toothpick style, but I've already messed around with this one enough, so I'm not getting it open again. Instead, I'm thinking the very largest sense of the toothpick. Not really a toothpick, but was called the Toothpick Pro, and it's got in it one of the Caddx EOS 2 cameras, which I do not particularly like. Now, this, I think, is a 19mm shape, so we'll actually have to increase the size to fit that in. But as I didn't like this camera before, I thought let's change it over to this one, see if we get an improvement. So let's see if we can get this out and basically swap them over, and then we can take a look through the OSD settings, see if there's anything we want or need to set up. Okay, so we've got the camera in there. Actually went in extremely easily. We had to put the little mounting bracket on it because, as I mentioned, this was 14mm. It looked tiny in comparison to the camera we took out. And a quick correction there, this is in fact a Turbo Micro F2, not the EOS 2, so slight difference there. But yeah, this is in nicely, no soldering or anything, the socket's just fitted in, and I've got the little OSD board ready to see what's going on. So let's plug in and see what we can see. For your viewing pleasure today, we've got Pickle Rick back as hey, new series coming out soon, I'm glad to say. And we can see at the bottom of the screen we've got some OSD information there we want to get rid of. What I'm going to do first is just flick this into the lowest power mode I've got, just so, no, we're not using smart audio, just so you know nothing explodes there. Just go to 25, that will do me, and then we can get on and actually see what's going on with the OSD. So we've got pick adjust, we've got flip in case you mount it upside down, brightness, contrast, all the normal bits there, which you can play with, and it really is quite a good idea to play with it. We've got day and night, and I'm going to choose colour. White balance is auto. That's camera reset. Right, where's the OSD thing then? So let's normally go over to one side or the other. Not that one. Is it up? Yes, it is. So by holding up, I'm getting vaguely used to these now, we can get on to the other settings. Oh, this is interesting. What we've got is We can position the pilot names, or we can turn them on and off, ditto with the timer and everything. I'm going to turn everything off. I'm actually going to put widescreen on. My goodness, you can finally see there's a difference. And I'm going to change the TV mode to PAL. I seem to have lost OSD completely on that, so let's just try rebooting quick.
Telemetry lost.
Oh, that's freaky. I've literally got no OSD. That's interesting. It looks like I can't get the OSD working with a PAL signal, which is kind of odd. I don't really understand why that would be the case, but
3 minutes.
for ease of what I'm doing, I'm just going to turn it to NTSC for now. I might investigate that a little bit later. So okay, that's the setup of that thing. We've got it so, you know, I'm happy I can see. The weird thing about the OSD being able to unable to display with power is a bit odd, but I want to go fly it first, and then I'll come back and have a look at that and see if there's a problem. Anyway, so that's the setup. I'll tuck this in, but I'll take it with me just in case I need to change anything obvious. But for now, let's take it out, fly it, see what happens. Okay, so let's try it out. This little Toothpick Pro on 4S always makes me want a bigger area, but this is what I've got today, so we'll just have to make do. Let's see how it goes. So we're up and off for a fly, and my first impression was, hey, this is pretty good, followed by, it's a weird thing across the middle of the screen. It almost looks like there's a sort of misty thing. Is that the sun doing that? But lo and behold, after this flight, sort of 3 minutes later-ish, I came in, landed, looked at the lens, and there was in fact a little bit of moisture over the top, which was causing that misting. So I wiped that off and went again. So pretty much ignore that first one. This is what the actual flight looks like. And as I said, I was flying along and thinking, this is not bad. It's pretty good as far as these micro cameras go. It's got that little sort of over sharpening thing that a lot of these cameras do, where you get some people refer to it as sort of sparkling diamonds in the trees, these little bits of red shimmering that light up. But I did think the colours were pretty good, and it certainly let me see where I was going. Didn't have any problems with the light, so that bit was all good. The only thing that was really useful in terms of testing this out is I happened to be also flying a quad that had the standard Runcam Nano in, and when I look at the pictures on that, and here they are, I'm thinking actually that Runcam Nano is, I think, a lot better. Some might say it looks a little bit red, but hey, it's autumn, things are a little bit red at the moment. It's only when I did this direct comparison that I thought, actually I think I prefer the Runcam Nano. That said, what you can do with the Caddx Kangaroo, of course, is tune all that colour hue and the sharpness and everything else about it to get the picture you want. So that's a good thing. Of course, I didn't tune it. I just went out and flew it as on the default settings to see how it worked. So the question with these things is, how much can you get out of it extra by really fiddling with the settings and getting the picture just the way you want it? And can people actually be bothered to put the effort in to do that, as opposed to just buying an off-the-shelf camera that just looks pretty good out of the box? I'm not sure. I sort of err on the side of laziness. If I was just flying the same one or two quads over and over again, I think I'd want to tune it a lot more. But where I'm flying quite a lot, and well, I'm generally lazy, I just kind of want it to work out of the box. Unless there's something very obviously bad about it, I tend not to bother tuning it. So yeah, it's okay, it's perfectly flyable. It feels better than the other Caddx EOS or the F2 camera. It just doesn't feel, for me at least, as good as the Runcam Nano. Of course, what you see in the goggles is a very subjective opinion about what you want to see and what's best. Like, lots of people commented about, like, you've got this too sharp, you need to push that sharpening right down. But when I had it down so we didn't get this sort of shimmering thing, I really didn't like the softness of it. So, you know, it's down to what you like, really. Just to make sure it did stand up to some punishment, I did, of course, crash test it. I completely do this on purpose, and it's not my bad flying at all, honest. No damage, of course. Well, there you go. That's the little Caddx Kangaroo, and it did okay. It worked perfectly fine, and I was thinking on my first flights, this is a pretty good camera. I quite like this. It was only when I used another camera I thought, this camera's better. So it's like Runcam Nano for me beats the Caddx Kangaroo. But it kind of depends where your priorities lie. So on the basic Runcam Nano, which is slightly cheaper, you won't get the little joystick to twiddle with the settings. On the Caddx Kangaroo you can, and adjust it to your heart's content, slightly more expensive. The other thing I do really like about the Caddx Kangaroo is it's both nano and micro, so you can adjust it from 14mm to 19mm with that little adapter plate. I think that's really cool. I did go back and have a look at that problem I was having at PAL, and weirdly enough, never seen this appear like that as a problem before. On the flight controller, Betaflight had the OSD set to explicitly NTSC. Normally I see things set to auto quite a lot, and then you have to fiddle about with it to work out what it is. This was set to NTSC, and as soon as I set it to PAL, it was okay. I'm sure previously I've had these misset and the OSD is still there, but it's just all a bit weird. So if you suddenly lose your OSD one day when you're replacing cameras and that, take a look, see if there's any sort of explicit settings in the OSD section of Betaflight. But it's fine now set to PAL, and we've got more lines so I could drag the OSD down a bit more. But there you go, this has been a review of the Caddx Kangaroo, although it's been a bit more of a comparison as well, but that's just how it goes now. I've looked at lots of cameras, I kind of look at things and say, it's okay, but I like other ones better. And it was kindly supplied for review by Banggood, so thanks to Banggood. And of course there'll be links down below where you can get the Kangaroo and the Runcam Nano, just in case you want to take a look at that one. Hope this review's been helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.
Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thanks once again for watching. If you like what you saw, then please consider subscribing, and if you really like what you saw, then be sure to check out the link to my blog for a variety of ways in which you can help support this channel.